Donald Trump just had a primetime address and he just revealed so much.
2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files.
Trump just admitted that his administration in 2020 allowed China to steal 220 million voter files. But there's more.
Members of the deep state in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling.
And he also just admitted that his intel agencies covered it all up. There's one thing that we must do. Impeach the guy in charge.
Holy shit, the president released documents showing the 2020 election was stolen. Okay, I'm just gonna download that here. Then open this. Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, wait, so it was stolen, but wait a second. What?
So Trump says Democrats forgot to rig the election in 2016, successfully rigged it while he was president in 2020, then forgot how to rig it again in 2024. So the only election Democrats supposedly stole was the one he himself controlled. You have to be a very specific kind of stupid to believe this bullshit.
Greetings to you all. Welcome to Bold Perspectives Network. I'm Mr. Red. Last night, Trump's primetime address to the public to let them know that he has uncovered election fraud from the 2020 election. This shit was a complete disaster. And let me tell you how. This was a grievance to the public about him not winning. Now, this doesn't even make sense. Why are you litigating losing in 2020 when you are the president now? This has nothing to do with voter fraud. This has everything to do with the context of being able to steal the next election, to be able to stop Democrats' momentum from winning, even though we know historically that the other party out of power will get back in, usually. And Donald Trump knows that, and he's scared of that. Because he knows that if Democrats get power, everything is going to come into the light. I have a few clips for you today that I want you to see that is going to show why this was a disaster of a speech given by Donald Trump. We have much to discuss. Let's strap in. Let's get after it.
But understand what happened tonight. The president was setting the context. He was setting the basis for him to turn around at midnight on election day and say, I warned you. I warned you back in July that the Chinese were doing XYZ and the Venezuelans were doing XYZ and all this terrible stuff. It happened tonight. I am deploying federal officers from the Department of Homeland Security to 7 states. They will be seizing ballot boxes in those states because we know that lots of undocumented aliens voted in those things. So we are seizing ballot boxes. Now, Lawrence O'Donnell, what happens when all of a sudden we've lost the chain of custody of 70 ballot boxes in critical? That is the moment in which American democracy dies. Make no mistake, what happened tonight.
If you don't get anything from this video or from what happened last night, you need to understand exactly what that man just said. That Trump just set the pretext for him to be able to interfere with free and fair elections. Democracy has been done. The Supreme Court did it. Trump has done it by not adhering to the laws. The Constitution is like that thin-ass toilet paper that you used to have when you were in school and you'd wipe and then, it's all over your hands. Like, that's where we're at right now with democracy, all right? But this election, it's something, isn't it? Because if it wasn't, why would Trump be going to this much trouble? Because he knows that the presidency is his only shield from accountability. He knows it. We know it. And again, him setting up the pretext for being able to go into these states and to disrupt free and fair elections, at that point, we're no longer at the talking phase of this. We're no longer at the phase where we could just sit back and say and do nothing. I need you to think about it. If they're able to do this and we just allow them to do it, that's it. That's a wrap. They know if we allow this, if there's no pushback, if there's no real fighting, it's over. You might as well just grab your ankles and kiss your own ass. They are setting up the pretext for cheating. That's it. This is about them not going to jail, just like Steve Bannon said, that if they do not win this election, some people in that room were going to go to jail, including himself. And so think about it. They've been stealing and robbing from this country. They know they would go to jail for forever. Why wouldn't they do this? Why wouldn't they set the pretext for them to be able to stay in power? And that's why we have to be prepared for all eventualities come November.
After my initial review of Trump's declassified election documents, I was right. They are going to totally backfire on him. Check this out. First, I'm not sure which is more heavily redacted, these or the Epstein files. I mean, this is what Trump calls transparency? How are we supposed to see anything? I just started looking at this, but look, this whole section on Russia, mostly redacted, which is interesting because of this page that shows this chart with the 3 main countries they know were trying to interfere with U.S. elections. And look at this. Russia checks the boxes for election processes, legal processes, and leaking intelligence acquired information. Those are major right there, especially under election processes where it says Russia was targeting, accessing, or manipulating election processes or election-related systems. It appears that Trump is proving himself wrong, that Russia was more active in interfering with our elections than China. And their assessment for the 2020 election was that Russia wanted Trump to win and they tried to denigrate Joe Biden, and that China wanted Biden to win and Trump to lose. This release raises way more questions about what Russia was doing than China.
You have to see this. The guy that Trump hired to investigate elections just admitted on camera after his speech tonight that there's no evidence the 2020 election was unfair, and then he got rushed away from journalists by Trump's team. Just take a look.
Did you acknowledge that there were no votes changed in 2020?
All I can acknowledge is what the intelligence shows, right? I only know the intelligence committee has zero evidence that someone has flipped, that a foreign power flipped a vote in 2020, 22, or 24.
And you have you're able to.
We're now through all the documents.
You're able to acknowledge that Venezuela has not tampered with voting machines in the United States.
No, the intelligence is very clear. They did it on their own machines. Why is it important that they did it on their machines? Their machine protocols are the same as America. Why? Because for a long time they did exactly.
And so the 2020 election was in fact the results as we the American public.
I'm still researching, so let me. This is the first one.
But there's no intelligence.
Not yet.
There is no intelligence that the election would have said that Donald Trump was
the president said that tonight. Thanks, John.
And would you look at that, they all rushed him away as soon as the truth slipped out. He admitted 3 things in that video: that no votes were changed in 2020, no machines have been tampered with, and they have no intelligence right now to suggest that the 2020 election was unfair. Hey MAGA, that's Donald Trump's own guy saying that. Now, he's probably going to get fired tomorrow for saying it, but nonetheless, John Solomon, this man right here, said it on camera.
Now, there was proof that there was interference in our election. It just wasn't the people that you think. Right now, for some reason, Trump wants to say China when everything pointed to Russia. But more importantly, what we know from the elections, quote unquote interference, all of this stuff was talked about during the Senate hearings or during the House hearings. These things were already released and talked about. If there was any election interference, I am going to show you exactly where it came from.
What Trump's going to do is just declare victory, right? He's going to declare victory. But that doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's the winner. And Trump's going to be sitting there mocking, tweeting shit out. You lose. I'm the winner. I'm the king. If Trump is losing, it's going to be even crazier. He's going to sit right there and say they stole it.
That was top GOP strategist Steve Bannon literally saying that if they lose, they're going to say that they won anyway. The literal definition of fraud. And to this day, Steve Bannon is still one of the top GOP strategists.
What they're assuming is that the election will be normal. The election will not be normal. Oh, these are the California results? Sorry, we're not accepting them. We're challenging them in court. If the electors show up at the Electoral College, armed guards will throw them out. I'm the president. you. And the judges we're going to are judges I appointed.
That was GOP strategist and Trump aide Roger Stone literally admitting they will not allow California's results. And when California obviously takes this to court, they're going to go to crooked judges who are appointed by Trump. Imagine for 1 millisecond if this was Democrats. All the things I just showed you happened in 2020, and they attempted massive fraud. Trump is giving a speech tonight alleging that there was massive voter fraud in the 2020 election due to foreign interference. Everything they are about to say tonight is going to be bullshit. They are genuinely trying to destroy democracy.
You got a whole range of Republican senators right now who know that this is nonsense that they heard the president spewing tonight. They know that he is setting fire on our democracy, and they are silent. Martin Luther King Jr. said silence is betrayal, and they are betraying the grand experiment on the 250th anniversary of our country's founding. At some point, you ought to be more than a Democrat. You ought to be more than a Republican. How about show up as an American, as a patriot, and speak up as the president is sowing doubt in an election that he knows he's about to lose.
Raphael Warnock was absolutely correct in his assessment of what's going on. Thomas Massey said the other day that Republicans control the House, the Senate, the presidency, and to some extent the Supreme Court, and yet they're doing nothing about this man and his people that want to try to steal elections and want to subvert the will of the people in a democracy. They are willing to sit back and watch this country burn. And so when we sit here and say that we don't want to deal with people who will sit here and believe this crap, who sit here and claim to be patriots, yet their actions say that they are just as complicit as our enemies that are foreign and the ones here domestically. So we have a problem right now. And I have to tell you that this speech should be worrying everybody because, again, to me, it's just Trump coming out saying that, hey, if this doesn't go my way, I am going to do something about it. I am going to put my thumb on the scale, and you all are going to do a damn thing about it. At this point, we cannot operate thinking that anything is going to be normal at this point, because as we heard from Steve Bannon and from the other joker there, they don't care. They're going to do whatever it takes for them not to go to jail. They're going to do everything it takes for them not to be prosecuted. They're going to do whatever it takes for them to stay in power, because right now they've done enough that they would be going to jail for the rest of their lives. So my question to you all, what are you going to do about it? Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.